She was tired of being strong for everyone else while quietly disappearing inside herself. For years, she bent her dreams to fit into rooms that never truly welcomed her. She smiled when she wanted to scream, agreed when her heart was screaming no, and sacrificed pieces of herself just to be called good, respectable, and acceptable. But one night, sitting alone with the weight of her own silence, she realized something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. No one was coming to save her, and that meant she could finally save herself. The moment she chose herself, everything began to change. She had been raised to believe that a woman's worth was measured by how much she endured. Endure the expectations, endure the rules, endure the disappointment in other people's eyes. From a young age, she learned that being quiet was safer than being honest, that obedience was praised more than courage, and that putting herself last was somehow noble. Every dream she carried was questioned. Every boundary she tried to set was called selfish. Slowly, without realizing it, she learned to shrink. She became the woman who showed up for everyone, the one who fixed problems, absorbed blame, carried emotional weight that was never hers to begin with. People admired her patience, her sacrifice, her strength, but no one asked what it was costing her, and she didn't tell them, because she believed love meant endurance. She believed respect had to be earned through suffering. She believed that choosing herself would make her the villain. Inside, though, something restless refused to die, a quiet voice that whispered, "This is not all you are." At first, she ignored it. Life was easier that way. Familiar pain felt safer than uncertain freedom, but the voice kept growing louder each time she said yes when she meant no. Louder every time she watched someone else live the life she secretly wanted. Louder every time she looked in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. She stayed longer than she should have in places that drained her, in relationships where her needs were minimized, in roles that praised her sacrifice but never her ambition. She told herself it was loyalty. She told herself it was love, but deep down, she knew the truth. She was afraid, afraid of disappointing others, afraid of being judged, afraid of standing alone. The breaking point didn't come with drama or shouting. It came quietly. One ordinary day when nothing was technically wrong, yet everything felt unbearable. She felt exhausted in a way sleep couldn't fix, empty in a way success couldn't fill. She realized she had built a life where everyone else had access to her, but she barely had access to herself. That was the day she chose herself. Not loudly, not for applause, but firmly. She began with small rebellions, saying no without explaining, resting without guilt, letting people be uncomfortable with her boundaries. At first, it felt wrong. Years of conditioning told her she was being selfish, difficult, ungrateful. Some people didn't hide their disappointment, others pulled away completely. And that hurt, but not as much as losing herself had. She learned that choosing herself didn't mean she stopped loving others. It meant she stopped abandoning herself. She stopped negotiating her worth. She stopped shrinking to make other people feel bigger. She stopped waiting for permission to live. As she changed, everything around her reacted. The people who benefited from her silence resisted her voice. The ones who relied on her self-sacrifice accused her of changing. And they were right. She was changing. She was becoming honest. She was becoming whole. For the first time, she listened to her instincts instead of dismissing them. She trusted her inner voice instead of seeking constant validation. She took risks that scared her. She walked away from what was familiar but harmful. She chose growth over approval. It wasn't easy. Some nights she doubted herself. Some mornings she missed the comfort of being needed. But each step forward felt lighter. Each boundary brought clarity. Each brave decision rebuilt her confidence. She discovered that peace feels strange when you're used to chaos, that healthy love feels boring when you're addicted to struggle, that freedom can feel lonely before it feels empowering. But she stayed the course. Slowly, her life began to reflect her choices. Opportunities appeared where fear once lived. Her energy returned. Her laughter felt real again. She no longer introduced herself by what she did for others, but by who she was becoming. She didn't become perfect. She became honest. She didn't become fearless. She became brave enough to act despite fear. She didn't harden her heart, she strengthened it. And the most powerful lesson she learned was this: choosing yourself is not an act of rejection, it is an act of self respect. The world didn't fall apart when she stopped living for everyone else. It aligned. Because when a woman finally chooses herself, she doesn't just change her own life, she changes the rules of what is possible.